Like I don't even know. I'm just processing at this point.
The video starts with a low-quality audio tape recording, distant static, then a man's voice. It's unmistakable, Kody Brown. His voice is acidic, defensive, exasperated. The words reverberate around the web. You think you know everything. You don't know what really happened. That was the sentence that revolutionized everything. The tape first appeared late one evening on a secret Sister Wives fan website, anonymously uploaded, titled only Audio from Flagstaff. In a matter of hours, it was all over Reddit, TikTok, and YouTube. Fans didn't know if it was genuine, but the voice was dead ringers for Kody's. And what he said in that 13-minute tape rocked even the strongest believers to their very foundations. At first, you can hear the distant scratching sound of someone walking back and forth, a chair scratching on the floor. Then Kody speaks something that made everyone stop. They think I'm the villain, but they have no idea what I've done for this family. That statement resonated differently. For a long time, Kody had played the role of the tired patriarch, beleaguered, maligned, perpetually insisting that the wives didn't hold his authority in respect. But on this recording, his facade falls away. The man we hear is not tired. He is angry, trapped, and desperate to blame his own culpability. Christine had once told us in an interview, when Kody feels out of control, he starts rewriting history. That statement suddenly made sense. Because this tape wasn't merely rage. It was defense masquerading as confession. As the recording goes on, you hear him ranting about the money, about trust, and about the ones who turned against him. His voice grows louder, cracking with anger. I constructed all of this. I kept this family together when they were plotting their escape. Pause. The next noise is softer, as if someone is exhaling or sobbing. Then Kody lowers his pitch. His next sentence is whispered but unmistakable. I didn't mean for it to go this far. That single sentence became the core of the narrative. What did he say? Go that far how? Was he saying about the family disintegrating, or something greater, something legal, something monetary? Fans began excavating, frame by frame, sound by sound. One sound engineer likened the voice to earlier Sister Wives interviews. 97% match. Others picked up on background noises, a clock tick, a low hum that matched the interior of Kody's Flagstaff home, featured in Season 17. Whether you thought so or not, one thing was for sure. The tape didn't sound like a tale. In a matter of days, Christine and Janelle's attorneys appeared to have called TLC. According to anonymous sources in tabloids, something explosive was about to happen. Something that would change the way people looked at the Brown family forever. And that's where this tale truly starts. Not with a TV moment, not with a staged fight, but with an impromptu confession. A man, to himself, finally speaking aloud what the cameras never registered. As fans listened more intently, the backstory grew darker. Kody spoke of the accounts, the transfers, and something he referred to as the arrangement. She knew. They both knew. It wasn't just me. Who was she? Christine? Robin? No one knew yet. But one thing was certain. Whoever was on that call with him had to be close enough to record it. Folks started putting the timeline together. Christine left late 2021, the lawsuit started brewing 2022, and this recording, it did sound like a man in panic. A man seeing his empire fall apart. And in that panic, Kody made a comment that gave every listener's stomach a sinking sensation. If they discover the second account, it's done. There it was, the smoking gun. Fans were stunned. The phrase second account was the most searched term on Sister Wives fandom that week. Speculation went wild. Some speculated he was talking about Family Traditions LLC. Others guessed it was a completely clandestine business venture between Kody and Robin. The network held their tongues. TLC released one general statement. We are aware of a reported audio recording in the online world. We have no comment yet. But silence here said it all. Because by now, folks weren't wondering if it was real. They were wondering who spilled it. Some thought it was an old crew member. Others suggested it was Mindy Jessup, the notorious nanny who had already taken the stand against Kody in the civil trial. A few even guessed that it was from within the family itself, maybe a daughter who was sick of seeing her father spin the story. Whichever the origin, the tape didn't merely rock the fandom, it shattered the illusion of control Kody had constructed over so many years. And as the tape circulated, fans picked up on one final chilling aspect. Toward the end, following an extended silence, Kody's voice drops to near whisper. He speaks. She told me she'd never leave, but they all do. Every single one of them. A deep sigh. A chair scratches again. And then silence. The screen goes black. That instant, that subdued, dejected breath, was foreign to what listeners had ever gotten from him. Bye-bye bravado. Bye-bye self-styled patriarch. All that remained was a lone man in an empty room, tormented by the reality he could no longer conceal. What came next would shake things up, not only for Kody, but for Christine, Janelle, and the whole Sister Wives legacy. Because the tape didn't reveal a hidden secret. It revealed what Kody was like when no one was looking. The internet was already ablaze. By the time the tape reached its third day on the web, it had already been mirrored, passed around, picked apart, and slowed down 100 times. Every sentence, every breath, every pause was magnified. But one question kept surfacing above the fray. Who taped Kody Brown? Initially, individuals believed it must have been one of the folks at TLC. One of the crew members, perhaps, who was fed up with the deception and the manipulation. And yet, sound engineers began to pick up on something unusual. You could hear the echo of the room, barely, but indicative. It wasn't the kind of echo you'd achieve with a professional boom mic or concealed camera. It had a fainter sound, almost like a phone. A phone sitting on the brim of a counter, picking up from a distance. That fact flipped everything. If not the crew, then it must be someone within the house. Someone intimate enough to Kody to be in that same room. The options were limited. Robin, one of the children, or a close friend. Online speculation poured in. Some fans referenced Robin's behavior in recent interviews. The way she wouldn't make eye contact. The way she fidgeted whenever money came up. Others swore on their mother's graves that it must be one of Kody's grown kids, perhaps Gabriel or Gwendolyn, someone who'd witnessed the reality firsthand and had just grown tired of it. But the key was in a small, unremarked moment on the tape. About the 9-minute point, after Kody growls something about, "They'll never get what I did for us," you hear someone quietly reply, just above a whisper. A woman's voice, soft, tentative. She says, "You went too far this time." The instant was so fleeting that everybody initially missed it. But as soon as people were told about it, the internet went wild all over again. Fans began running voice comparisons. Some stated it was Christine. Others said it was Robin. Others still thought it was even one of Kody's daughters. But whoever it was, that voice was scared, not raging, not screaming, but shattered. It sounded like somebody discovering in the moment that everything they'd ever thought was a fabrication. And then the next bombshell arrived. A text message leak appeared on Reddit, supposedly between two ex-TLC production assistants. One of them wrote, "He didn't know he was being recorded." It was a fight after hours. Someone hit record and walked away. If that's what happened, then this wasn't just a leak, it was an accident. A burst of raw emotion no one ever thought would see the light of day. Insiders later suggested the possibility that the discussion may have occurred during the break from filming between seasons 17 and 18, a period when things in the Brown home were at their lowest point. Christine had already fled, Janelle was distancing herself, and Kody's grip was slipping rapidly. That setting made the tape all the more potent. It wasn't a scripted act. It wasn't TLC editing wizardry. It was real, raw, unedited, and condemnatory. And as the debate raged on, one name repeatedly came up, Mindy Jessup. Fans were still recalling her testimony in the supposed court case, how she unveiled KN&R. Holdings financial secrets and spoke about the manipulative talks she'd heard between Kody and Robin. She was reserved, guarded, and she had access. She was among the few individuals who could have been present in that house, in that room, at that time. If Mindy had taped Kody, it would be logical. She'd already gone and risked everything once to reveal the truth. Perhaps she had one more morsel of evidence that she couldn't turn her back on anymore. And then another hypothesis emerged, one that seemed even more sensible. What if it wasn't Mindy at all? What if it was Robin, the woman who was closest to him, the one who stood to lose the most, and, in some perverse sense, the most to guard? Picture the scene: Kody storming, angry, raging about betrayal and finances. Robin sitting opposite him, phone clutched in her hand. Perhaps she'd hit record not for evil, but because she was afraid. Perhaps she needed evidence, something to safeguard herself in case things ever got out of hand. And then, it did. It was observed by some fans that Robin had been quiet since the tape came to light. No public remarks, no tearful words. Even TLC's social media appeared to steer clear of posting about her. She seemed to have disappeared into silence, the kind of silence that speaks louder than words ever can. Meanwhile, Christine and Janelle stayed calm. When asked about the leak, Christine simply said, "I think people are finally hearing what we've lived through." Janelle nodded beside her, adding softly, "Truth has a way of finding its voice." Neither confirmed the tape's authenticity, but neither denied it. And then came the most chilling discovery. At the 12th minute of the tape, just before it is over, you can hear Kody drop his voice once more. He utters, "If this ever gets out, I'll lose everything. The house, the show, even her." And then the same woman's voice retorts, "Maybe that's the point." The words lingered like smoke, haunting, silent, ultimate. Whoever uttered them was no longer debating. She was finished. It was not a fight. It was an epiphany. The tape simply stops abruptly after that. No goodbye, no conclusion, only empty silence that hangs like the premonition of thunder. Speculation grew overnight. Was that Christine facing him one last time? Was it Robin finally cracking under his grip? Or was it another person altogether? A quiet witness who determined the world should know the truth? No one knew for certain. But one thing became evident. This wasn't merely a family fight. It was the noise of a kingdom dissolving from within. The confession wasn't only shocking because of what Kody revealed, it was heartbreaking because of what he refused to reveal. The remorse was between the lines. The honesty was in the silences. And as the dust began to settle, one question hung over everything. If this tape was authentic, if Kody actually confessed to keeping something under wraps, what would happen next? Because secrets this large don't remain buried forever. When the tape finally went mainstream, all was changed. What began as a rumor on fan forums became top headline news. Entertainment websites took it up, podcasts argued its validity, and reaction videos clogged up YouTube hours after its release. All parts of social media hummed with one question. What did Kody Brown actually admit to? The audio was raw, unedited, and haunting. It wasn't just a scandal, it was a revelation. For over a decade, fans had watched the carefully produced image of Kody, the patriarch, the man balancing faith, family, and love. But the man on that recording wasn't the Kody from TLC. He was something else entirely. People weren't just hearing words, they were hearing truth seep through cracks in the performance. The initial mainstream publication to publish the news was In Touch Weekly. Their title was, "Leaked Audio Suggests Kody Brown Confessed to Hidden Finances and Family Betrayal." And once that was out, there was no containing the genie. Kody remained quiet. No words, no interviews. For a man who had once lived for the limelight, his quietness spoke louder than any word ever could. And meanwhile, Robin vanished from social media completely. Fans deluged her previous posts with questions. Was it you on the tape? Why aren't you denying it? Are you covering for him? But the most revealing responses came not from Kody nor Robin. They came from Christine and Janelle. Christine went live on Instagram the next evening. She didn't confirm anything. She didn't have to. Her calm expression, the quiet confidence in her tone, said everything. She simply said, "I've always believed truth has a way of finding its own path." Then she smiled softly and ended the live stream. That clip went viral within minutes, racking up millions of views. Janelle, however, came at it differently. She shared a picture of the Arizona hills during sunrise with one caption, "Peace never comes from pretending." That phrase was quoted everywhere, on blogs, in reaction videos, in fan-made edits. It became a rallying cry for everyone who'd seen the women of the Brown family gain back their power little by little. Things were far from peaceful behind the scenes, however. It was in crisis mode, according to several insiders. TLC had bet on Sister Wives for almost a decade and a half. It was more than a show. It was a franchise, a cash cow, a brand. And that brand was in jeopardy. The producers were said to have emergency sit-downs to decide whether to publicly confront the tape or act as if it did not exist. An insider said that Kody forced the network to handle it, threatening to leave the show unless they shielded him. But here's the irony. That threat no longer worked, because by that point, the viewers weren't watching for Kody. They were watching for them, for Christine, for Janelle, for the truth. The balance of power had changed, and Kody sensed it. Meanwhile, fan detectives continued to reveal new information. Audio analysts compared the creaking chair on the tape to an identical creaking chair sound on a previous Sister Wives episode shot at Kody and Robin's Flagstaff house. The correlation was almost precise. If this was a fake, it was a sophisticated one. But at a subconscious level, everyone knew it wasn't real. The passion in his tone, the silence, the remorse, they were too authentic. By the end of the week, hashtags such as Kody Confession and Sister Wives Exposed were trending on all platforms. TikTok influencers dissected the tone of Kody's voice. Twitter threads deconstructed his each sentence like evidence in a court of law. That single clip from the recording became viral on every platform. The instance when Kody uttered, "I didn't mean for it to go this far." That line had become a metaphor. Some took it as regret over losing his family. Others thought it was something more, something related to the supposed financial fraud involving the shared properties of the family. And then, another layer was added. Christine's brother, who wasn't known to speak out much, made a cryptic post on social media. "He's been hiding behind faith for too long. The truth always burns through the lies." Fans went wild. Was that confirmation? Was the tape authentic? And then, Q-style, Janelle's son made a post that ended all the speculation. It was a picture of them both smiling together, captioned simply, "Some things were never meant to stay secrets." No denial, no explanation. Just that. By now, even the mainstream media couldn't turn their backs on the tale. Entertainment Tonight aired an entire segment dissecting the recording, calling it the most explosive Sister Wives scandal ever. They had legal analysts, sound engineers, even relationship experts on to try to decipher what the tape actually said. The more that listened, the more it became apparent. This wasn't just a single confession. This was about decades of manipulation, unseen resentment, and the disintegration of a man's authority. A fan summed it up best in a viral post. "For years, we saw the wives crumbling on camera. This tape is the moment we finally heard Kody crack off camera." And that's precisely what it was. Not simply a recording, but an unraveling. Within 7 days, Kody's ego and image empire collapsed. TLC removed reruns of past episodes quietly. Sponsors asked to suspend mid-season sponsorships. And secretly, something was brewing. Christine and Janelle, who had endured in silence long enough, were cooking something official. It wasn't a lawsuit this time. It wasn't even monetary. It was truth. Gossip started spreading that the women were set to tape a private tell-all special, separate from TLC, in which they would finally have their say. Unedited, unfiltered, uncensored. The world had Kody's confession. Now it was time to listen to theirs. But before it was possible, one last surprise would shake the fan base to its core. Something nobody saw coming. Something which even the most cynical viewers thought this tale had a long way yet to go. Because only when everyone thought the case of the tape had been cracked, another audio file went live on the internet. And this time, Kody wasn't the sole participant. It started like déjà vu. Another anonymous upload, another midnight post with no explanation. Part 2. The recording was shorter, closer to 9 minutes, but the voice was unmistakable. Kody's voice once more. But this time there was no pacing, no yelling, no anarchy. Just the soft murmur of two voices talking in whispers. A woman's voice joined his within seconds. Softer, controlled, familiar. It was Robin. If the initial tape revealed Kody's rage and guilt, the second eliminated what was left of their cohesion. This wasn't a man yelling at thin air anymore. It was two adults scheming in hushed tones. The first two sentences chilled listeners around the world. Robin. They know, Kody. They've seen the papers. Kody. They don't know everything. Not yet. And they won't, unless someone talks. Those words, unless someone talks, landed like a warning. A threat. Maybe even a confession that there was more to hide. For a moment, all that could be heard was the sound of rain hitting the window. The setting was quiet, almost cinematic, as if the storm outside mirrored the storm inside their home. Robin. You shouldn't have said that on the phone. They record everything. Kody. I didn't say anything that wasn't true. Robin. You said too much. If Christine or Janelle get a hold of those transfers, it's over. Kody, snapping. It's over either way, Robin. Don't you get it? They've already turned the world against me. His voice quivered on that final line, a combination of frustration and terror. This wasn't the booming, boisterous Kody viewers were accustomed to seeing on television. This was a man disintegrating before their eyes. Robin remained silent for a long moment before responding, her voice shaking but resolute. Then we tell our story first. We make them appear bitter. We tell them they're lying because they're jealous. The room fell silent. The gravity of that statement hit home. Years prior, fans had accused Kody and Robin of orchestrating the public image, dictating the narrative, playing victims. And here it was, in their own words, confirming all suspicions. Kody. Do you think they'll ever believe us after this? Robin. They always do. You just have to sound hurt. People forgive pain. That line shattered the internet. People forgive pain. It wasn't a tactic. It was their playbook. The whole public image, the crying, the sympathy, the tearful interviews, now all seemed like a staged show behind closed doors. What made this second tape so chilling was what followed. Kody spoke in a hushed tone, almost to a whisper. You can hear papers rustling, perhaps documents, perhaps bank records. Then he muttered something almost too quiet to hear. If they trace it back to K&R Holdings, we're finished. Fans froze the clip, replayed it, slowed it down. The name was the same one that had come up during Mindy Jessup's alleged testimony months earlier. The same company Christine and Janelle's lawyers had questioned. This wasn't just family drama anymore. It was potential evidence, proof that something had been hidden, something that went beyond emotion and into deception. Robin, you promised to repair it. You promised nobody would know. Kody, I'm doing my best. But the money's gone, Robin. It's gone. Those 3 words, the money's gone, ricocheted around the internet. Viewers who had been defending Kody for years felt shocked into silence. Even dedicated fans of the show conceded they'd never have thought it would end like this. The emotional toll was significant. The initial tape had portrayed Kody as hot-headed and argumentative. This one painted him as guilty and defeated. Robin, sobbing quietly. So what happens now? Kody, we wait, and we pray they don't have proof. That moment, The desperation in his quiet voice was chilling. It didn't sound like a man praying for peace. It sounded like a man praying he wouldn't get caught. And then, at minute 7, came the scene no one was anticipating. "Robin, do you ever think maybe Christine was right?" Kody, brusquely, "Don't even go there." "Robin, she told me this would kill us. All of us. And perhaps she was right." Kody, "No, she wanted this. She wanted me to fail." Robin, "No, Kody. She wanted to be free." The silence that ensued was intolerable. You could listen to Kody's breathing become labored, quicker. Then something, a thump, perhaps a hand on the table. Kody, "Don't mention her name again?" That was it. The recording ended there. No farewell, no fade out. Only a sudden silence leaving everyone speechless. Within hours of the tape's release, the entire internet blew up once again. Individuals argued about every line, every sigh, every change in tone. Who dropped this one? Was it the same source? Was it taped the same evening as the first one? Others suspected Robin herself could have released it, either because she felt guilty or so that she would disengage before matters escalated any further. Others were convinced that someone within TLC had done it to pressure the network's hand, to make them finally do something about what was taking place behind closed doors. Whatever is the case, the second tape took the story entirely in a different direction. Kody was not only a hot-button reality TV personality anymore, he was now at the forefront of what viewers were referring to as the sister wives scandal of the decade. All media outlets needed answers. All viewers needed justice. Christine and Janelle remained quiet once more, but their silence didn't ring of avoidance this time. It rang of strategy. They knew what was next and they were prepared. The Brown world was imploding in public opinion, and for the first time in years, Kody wasn't in charge of the narrative. Because somewhere, someone still possessed the remainder of the recording, and they hadn't released it yet. The question wasn't whether they would. It was when, and when they did, it would reveal the ultimate truth about the Browns. The truth that even Kody never believed would be revealed. It occurred on a peaceful Sunday morning. No warning, no foreplay. Just one notice that brought the Sister Wives universe to a screeching halt. Final recording, the truth about Kody Brown. The video lasted 5 minutes. No music, no subtitles. Just a dark room, a flaring lamp, and the unmistakable voice of Kody. Weary, broken, free from every vestige of ego and control. "You think I wanted this?" he started, his voice shaking. "You think I wanted to be the bad guy?" There was no fury, no acting, no scripted lines for a TLC confession booth. This was something different, something bare. The whine of a man who just realized too late that the narrative he constructed was finally toppling over him. "They left because I pushed them," Kody went on, his speech unsteady. "I kept telling myself it was about loyalty, about faith. But it wasn't. It was about control." There was a long silence after that. You could hear him breathing, slow and unsteady. Then, as if speaking to himself, he murmured, "I love them all differently. I just didn't know how to love any of them right." That line stung like a chest punch. All the fans, all the watchers, all the ex-wives who'd endured years of drama, they all heard the same thing, the truth, at last expressed. But the tape didn't end there. There was a change in the audio, a creaking of a chair, a low moan. Then another voice came in, gentle and unsure. It was Robin. "Kody, they're going to use this. They're going to kill you." "Perhaps I do deserve it," he said softly. "Perhaps they do deserve to win." And then, the most chilling moment of all. I still dream about Christine walking out that door. She didn't even turn around. She just said, "You'll understand one day." And I think I finally do. His voice cracked full on then. The man who had controlled 4 wives and a family empire spoke like nothing more than a ghost, a shadow of the patriarch he used to pretend to be. You could have heard the weight of it all, the guilt, the regret, the knowledge that everything he had built had been built on fear, not love. But just before the clip was over, Kody did say one more thing. something that left everyone reeling. There's one thing they still don't know. One thing no one's asked me about. A pause. If they find out about that, it's over. Then click. The recording ended. The internet came to a standstill. The screen went black. There was no continuation, no clarification. Just those last few mysterious words. One thing they still don't know. Fans replayed it time and time again, hoping against hope to pick up a clue in his voice, a whisper of what he said. Some were convinced they heard papers rustling, perhaps documents of a legal nature. Others heard a softly opened door, like someone else was in the room. Within an hour, one thing they don't know went viral globally. Speculations burst on social media. Some speculated that he was referring to money, an additional secret account, a secret agreement. Others guessed that it was something much more intimate, a deeper betrayal than anyone had ever conceived. But then came one speculation that muzzled all the others. A former producer for TLC spoke anonymously to a small blog saying that Kody had made private video journals for years, never intended to be aired, in which he complained about his wives, his fears, his failings. The producer asserted that one of the videos had something that could ruin everything. And if that was the case, then the last recording wasn't the end. It was a warning. Christine and Janelle were silent. They didn't post. They didn't say anything. But 2 days later, Christine posted a quote in her Instagram story. It wasn't elaborate, but it was powerful. When the truth comes, let it. And below it, a cracked heart emoji alone. Janelle reposted it an hour afterward. And then, as a last whisper, a message appeared on a fan site asserting there was still one more file. A video, not an audio file. Dated mere days before Christine departed Flagstaff forever. The message concluded with 4 words that gave every spine a chill reading them. It shows everything. Everything. Was it true? Nobody knew. But for the first time in years, the Browns' story wasn't being penned by Kody. It was being written about him, by the truth, by the women he sought to silence, and by the confessions he believed would never see the light of day. The empire had crumbled. The man who once referred to himself as the head of the family was now haunted by the words he once spoke. And as that last tape dissolved into internet lore, one thing was for sure. Whatever the one thing they don't know is, it hasn't been buried for good. It's still out there, waiting, and when it turns up, it won't just finish Kody's tale. It will finally tell theirs. Fade out.